Firing, intimidation is not a solution. Dialogue and fulfilling the promise is what is important. Yes. So if you are scaring us, let them fire everyone.
After bravely telling of government to fire them for striking, nurses are now desperate to reclaim their jobs. This follows their dismissal for participating in an illegal strike. The health workers' panicking moves have forced them to apologize to Republican President Michael Sata for going on strike for 10 days. They have written to the president asking him to exercise lenience over their dismissal and treat their apology favorably. Zambia Union of Nurses Organization President Tom Yungana says the nurses have regretted their action and hope that government will handle their concerns with utmost urgency.
That effect, by yesterday, Friday, the 6th, we wrote to the Republican President, His Excellency Mr. Michael Sata, to consider exercising lenience and rescind the decision to dismiss the nurses. In our view, as Zono, we feel that apology will be treated favorably because we also have the concern of the patient's welfare.
And Mr. Yungana says the employment of 800 graduate nurses is meant to increase the number of health workers and not necessarily replacing those who were fired.
It may not be too good to extend their suffering because of the dismissals. As with respect to the 800 that are to be recruited to replace the dismissed nurses, those 800 were trained with a view to increase the number of nurses and midwives in Zambia, as opposed to be a replacement.
But on December 6, Vice President Dr. Guy Scott disclosed in Parliament that the 800 nurses who recently graduated will replace the dismissed nurses. And Youth Zambia Executive Director Amos Mwale says government's pronouncement to replace the dismissed health workers is not a realistic approach in attaining quality health care.
Even if they employ those 800, they are not actually filling the gap. What they actually need to do is that they need to reverse their decision and make sure that those nurses are reinstated. The people who are suffering is not the government. The people who are suffering are ordinary people, and these are people who voted for them to go.
The final decision on the plight of nurses is in the hands of the head of state, who will decide whether or not to forgive and retain the fired nurses. Naomi Ngandu, Muvi TV News, in Lusaka.